Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon to everybody who has taken time out today to join the session. Uh, I would like to begin the session by doing a brief introduction of myself. I am Amit Porwal from Elegance Enterprises. I am going to be your host and moderator for today's session. A little brief about me. I have spent about 18 years in this industry of real estate, specializing in corporate real estate and residential transaction advisory. Worked across markets from South India to Mumbai to Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, and worked with top brands like Jones Lang LaSalle, Colliers, BNP Paribas, LJ Hooker, and Embassy Group. So I'm going to be moderating today's session. What are we going to talk about today? So I think most of you have been getting calls from our end. We have been discussing about a very new and an interesting opportunity that's come into the market. So yes, we want to talk about investments. We want to talk about new avenues and the new innovation that's really hit the Indian market. So what's the investment mantra? A successful investing is about managing risk and not avoiding it. So any investment that we make, there is always an element of risk. There is always an element of doubt. But it's all about evaluating what is right, what is wrong, how do you make that investment, and how do you make sure the risk is mitigated to the best level possible. So that's how the investment works. In the past 2 years, starting from I would say the early 2020 and even till now, the markets have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has absolutely thrown open, I would say, opportunities and also a lot of impediment when it comes to investment opportunities that are available to people. And especially, let's talk about the retail investors. So when we are talking about the retail investors, people who are looking to invest 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, and looking for a safe avenue and a good return asset, usually the avenues available are pretty much restricted. So you either go the mutual fund way, or you go the fixed deposit way, or you invest into residential where the returns are low. Markets changed. New and new investment avenues have come into the market. So today we're going to talk about one such investment into commercial. We are talking about fractional ownership. When we talk fractional ownership, we talk about commercial. And one of the biggest questions, I guess, that every listener today and everybody who is joined is, it's COVID. People are vacating offices, people are working from home. Is it the right time to invest in a commercial asset? So it gets a lot of people thinking, right? What's really going to happen to the entire commercial real estate scenario? Couple of facts that I want to put across today to everybody. Work from home, yes, people have been seeing a lot of success, but there is going to be an eventually a time when people will start heading back to offices. Markets like US, where large companies have already started calling all their employees back to offices. It is just a matter of time when you will see India, once comes to a very safe zone, we will have people going back to offices. So what the understanding of commercial offices and commercial investments is going to take a major hit right now. If you look at reversing the situation, within no matter of time, maybe in the next 6 months, you will start seeing people going back to offices. You will start seeing corporates having something called as COVID compliances included in their design factor, which might even end up taking more space because you will need to make sure enough distancing is maintained between two people who sit in the office. So with every adversity, there is always an opportunity. And we always say, don't wait for a better investment option. Invest and then wait for a better time. So when a lot of people are saying commercial investment is something to be worried about, I would rather say it's the right time to invest because when the time is better, you are the one sitting on a high. But why real estate? Why talk about real estate investments? When you have, I would say, mutual funds, you have fixed deposits, you have a lot of new avenues of investment available. I guess most of us know the gentleman on the screen right now. And he's famous for a lot of things. He's famous for Tesla. He's famous for cryptocurrency. He's also famous for making some really good Twitter statements. And when he says something like this, what happens to the market? The crypto investors absolutely go crazy. The markets go 40% down, 20% up, and it's absolutely so random that it goes beyond anybody's, I would say, sane mind to understand how and when to invest. But when you look at real estate, one word: stability. One word which absolutely defines a real estate investment, where you can invest, the asset remains stable, market might go up, go down, there might be a slight correction, but yes, your funds remain safe. So, by the few words today, I'm going to introduce our panelists and going to introduce the asset managers, yield asset, who are in there as panelists. So let me start by introducing Mr. Rajesh Binner, who is the founder of Yield Asset, a 20 years of experience. And what I love about Rajesh's experience is he's a perfect marriage between real estate and banking, right? So when you have someone who understands the nuances of handling retail customers on the banking level and investment and FDI, and when he starts looking at real estate, there is bound to be a magic that will happen. So I would put my hands and give a warm welcome to Rajesh. Thank you so much, Rajesh, for joining us today. The second on our panelist, we have Riaz, who also has a 20 plus years experience. He has co-founded digital lending startup ventures in his time. He has been looking at real estate lending from the NBFC side. Riaz, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for coming on today. And finally, we have a very, very experienced banker who is an advisor on the Yield Asset Board, Mr. Rohit Maru, who is a chartered accountant, CFA, and Ignite graduate from Stanford, more than 15 years of experience into banking, who understands everything to do with investments, structuring, and how an asset can make money for you. So, very warm welcome to the Yield Assets team. I would now like to invite Rajesh to please take over from here and introduce the new investment opportunity that we have. Rajesh, over to you.
Thank you, Amit. Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, to join us on this webinar today. We will explain you about the opportunity that we have bring on table for investment to retail investors. I'll just give you a very brief background on yield asset and how we started it. Uh, we have felt a vacuum in the commercial real estate investments, wherein all grade A assets which are available for the investment or available for purchase in the market, they always go to ultra HNIs, they always go to family offices, they always go to institutions. uh, they are never in the purview, or I would say even the reach of the retail investors who want to invest 25, 30, 50, 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore also in most of the assets. So this is the model that we have brought in, which is a fractional investment model with fractional ownership of these marquee assets. And under this, we will explain you in detail how the model works. Under the same model, we have brought on the table a very, very marquee asset, which is based out of Bangalore. So I will right now take you through the property. I will take you through the nuances of the property, why we feel that this asset is a very good asset for everybody to own. And then I will hand it over to Rohit and further to Riaz to take you through the investment model and investment structure. So this is the property located on the main Banaghatta Road, Bangalore, which we call is as as a secondary business district in Bangalore. Uh, we are talking about a space on the fifth floor of the building, which is about 34,000 square feet. Um, it is a property which is grade A plus, uh, mixed use development. So, this asset class has a mix of marquee retail occupied by, Central and Cinepolis and Starbucks. Then we have a hotel which will be run by Hyatt, and then we have a commercial office tower of about 1 million square feet where this particular space is located. Uh, we have all very good major IT tenants in that building. This is one of the building in that area, which is kind of a we actually couldn't find any absolute benchmark against it. So there is no other property which has that kind of profile in that entire vicinity of Banaghatta Road and South Bangalore. So the total land area is about 6.5 acres. We have about 1.3 million square feet of total leasable space. Retail is about 200,000 square feet. About 900,000 square feet is of our office space, and about 1.5 lakh square feet, it is the hotel one. Floor very large but very efficient floor plate with the 80,000 square feet with 75% efficiency, and very nice infrastructure in terms of services, be it lift, be it chillers, HVAC, power backup, lifts, even your parking of spaces, all are of grade A plus. Rohit, can you go back once? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So more, yeah, more, Rohit. Yeah. So okay. This, in property, when we discuss, and if you ask any old hand in the who's into the property business, and if you ask us, what are the three most important factors to choose a property, and they would say location, location, location. So that is the old proverb which still exists in the real estate business. So this property location is very marquee. We have two metro lines going by it. One is under construction, which is walking distance of about 200 meters will be the metro station. And then we have another operational metro line. Rohit, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So we have another metro line which is operational, which is just 3 kilometers. And this operational metro line was used by most of the employees working in this particular office spaces located in this property. Now I'll come back. I'll come to the tenant which we are talking about. So a tenant is a company which is a New Star. It is a US based high-end technology company. More than 1.8 billion US dollar is the market capital, 700 million plus in revenue every year. They have clients like Google, Tesco, Pinterest, Cinepolis, Allstate, very, very marquee clientele of New Star. It is a part of Lockheed Martin, which is the American defense company. This company is part of that entire setup. The lease terms are the another one very, very important aspect when we go and choose a particular asset. Uh, the lease agreement and lease deed have been signed post COVID. So what Amit was talking about it, uh, that how the commercial real estate investment is safe in the terms of COVID, or whether the tenant will come back and renegotiate the rentals. whether the tenant will vacate right now because of work from home concept. So this particular investment mitigate all such risks basically. So the lease registration is done in May 2020. Rent is started in September 20. You know, even though the rent started in September 20 and it's been almost like 1 year, tenant hasn't worked from that office space, even for a single day, but they have been paying the rent very, very regularly, no delays, no reduction in the rent, etc. Uh, so, if you look at the timeline, we will be investing in July, and the first kind of the escalation would have already been kicked in the month of September. So, if you look at the lease term and the tenant, that mitigates all the risk associated because of the COVID and the commercial real estate. Uh, we have, vetted the lease agreement. We have vetted the lease deed. We have went through the details of the agreement that they have signed with the builder, and we are very comfortable in buying this particular asset. So these are the basic lease terms that we have. Total leased area is about 34,000 square feet. It comes with 45 car parks. Rent commencement is September 2020. Monthly rent, all-inclusive rent of about 115 rupees, which includes your warm shell rent, your car parking rent, and your fit-out rent. Lease term is 9 years. We have a lock-in period of 5 years and 6 months. So another 4.5 year lock-in period is still left. Uh, Tenant has given very high amount of deposit, security deposit. Generally the market standard is about 4 to 6 months. So they have almost given double than that as the security deposit. Uh, the lock-in of the property is, as I told, is another 4.5 year, ends at March 2026. We have 5% escalation in the rent every year. The first rent escalation is going to happen, which is happening in September this year. So these are the basic lease terms. Why? Can you go to the next slide, Rohit? So these are the other, sorry, yeah. So these are the other prominent occupier in the same building. And if you look at the profile of this, or if you can Google, all these names, they're all, almost every company is a Fortune 500 company, a very high tech company. There is no KPO, there is no BPO, there is no low end kind of tech development. They're all very high end tech development company. So the profile of the building, is known by the occupier, who occupies in that building, and by the names that are associated with the building already. This is going to be a very, very prime location to be in. Also because of the, because of the retail, because of the the hotel there and the podium level restaurants, etc., it will be a very, very vibrant environment. Uh, just to take you back to the property, when we are showing the pictures, this is designed by Thomas Associates. Is a very famous architect based out of Bangalore, and the most famous building in Bangalore, that is of UB City, has been designed by the same architect. And this building he wanted to design as the second UB City, or the UB City of South Bangalore. So, very large reception area, triple height reception lobbies with escalators on both sides, very elegant marble flooring done with patterns, a very vibrant podium level, which includes, cafes, restaurants, spa areas, etc. So it is going to be a very, very vibrant space to be in. Yeah, Rohit, can you go to the master plan, which you just showed? Yeah. So this is how the entire property is stacked up. So we have block A, which is the retail, where it is occupied the Central, which is now the Reliance company. Then Cinepolis, Then we have Starbucks. So these are the three tenants in this particular building. Then we have the hotel block where the swimming pool is shown at the top. So this is a 125 keys hotel, which will be operated by Hyatt. And then we have Tower B, which is the office block, and where Rohit has just shown the marking. That is the floor on the fifth floor that is occupied by this particular tenant. Now, taking you through why does it make sense to invest into this property? Can you go to the first slide, Rohit? Yeah. So we are getting at a very good value. This property, as I told you, is come to us because of the relationship that we have with the owner. Uh, Otherwise, this would have been lapped up by any of the family offices or by the institutions, very, very quickly. Because of the relationship that we have, we are able to bring it on to the retail investors. Uh, so average gross yield of about for a holding period of about 5 to 8 years is about 10.5. It's a grade A building, a very marquee mixed use development. uh, 5.5 year lock-in, 5.5 year lock-in is still left. uh, we don't have any COVID-led vacancy risk because the tenant is locked in for another 4.5 years, and the lease deed itself has been executed after the first wave of COVID. And location, as I told you, you can't beat the location. Actually, if you see the Google of that particular location, there's no other land available in that area. It is old, fully developed area. So this is one of the largest development on that entire stretch of Banaghatta Road. There is no comparable assets which are available on the main Banaghatta Road from CBD to this particular location. Now I will hand it over to Rohit to take you through the investment procedures and talk about the fractional ownership model, also to talk about yield asset as a company and how we are helping retail investors to participate in owning all these marquee assets, which probably so far have been kept out of their reach. Uh, uh, Rohit?
Yeah, thanks, Rajesh. Good evening, everyone. Now that you've known and realized that's a fantastic asset, very well located, possibly the next UB city of South Bangalore. Before I get into the numbers and more sensitivities, financials, I just wanted to give a sense about how the ownership, how all of you will pool money, how we will house the investment, what happens to the money, and what will be the role of yield asset. Now, if you see, this is a very simple depiction of the structure. All the investors will pool in the investments here. Why we do this? We do this so that all small investors can be pooled into a separate legal entity, and we choose either a private limited company or an LLP depending on the tax structure and the advice that we get. In this case, it will be an LLP with a combination of equity and debentures. So 95% of the money that we will pool in, we will issue you units in the form of equity in the partnership units in the LLP, and balance as CCDs. Now, this is not, it sounds very technical, but it is not. What it means is when you put 100 rupees, say minimum ticket is 25 lakhs in this case, but let me simplify by saying that each one of us, including me, say we put in 100 rupees, all of us contribute 100 rupees each and make up for the investment that is required to purchase this asset. The asset is registered in this SPV, and all of us will be unit holders in this SPV. right? Now these units, because this is an LLP, will be partnership interest. Now, every 100 rupee that goes into this SPV, I think I'm overdoing the writing. Yeah. So every 100 rupee that goes inside this SPV, 5% will be in form of equity, and balance 95 will be in the form of debentures. Now, why we choose debentures is to ensure that the money, the rental that we distribute back to all the investors. So when all of us get the rentals against our investment, is in the form of interest that we pay out, right? And that interest is deductible at the level of the company, at this level of the SPV. What that also means is this is a very tax efficient structure. We'll come to the tax efficient structure a little later. The role of yield asset, which Rajesh, Riaz, and I am part of, our role is to ensure that we facilitate the entire journey for all of us, all the investors here, from the moment you decide to invest in this asset. What this means is we vet the asset before bringing it up to you. So before we even decided to do this webinar, we possibly screened 10-15 assets, did our own due diligence, whether it makes sense for us to put our money, how is the legal, what are the lease terms, quality of asset, who are the people behind it. Now, when we are convinced that it's a good investment proposition, we float the opportunity for select investors like you. And it's just not there. So yield asset will help you throughout the journey. So we will be managing the investment for you. So we are, in a way, investment managers. I'll go to the next slide to give you just erase everything on the screen. Yes. So we pool the entire investment, ensure the investment process is completed, asset is monitored, rentals are collected, distributed on time, property is maintained well, and the exit. So from investment till the point of exit, the yield asset team, the experienced team, remains the one point of contact. So it is as good as saying, invest your money and leave everything else on the experienced team to manage the investment and distribution of rent return for you, right? Now, this is just a 360-degree perspective of why yield asset is different and what is so unique. We've already covered the experience of the team. Combined, we have 50 years of investing experience. Curated opportunities, as Rajesh said, these are unique opportunities which often don't come to individual investors like you and I, right, who have a smaller ticket. So we curate these opportunities, screen them, and then bring it up for you. The fee that we charge as an asset manager, possibly the lowest in the market, and which helps us align along with the journey that investors come in. So you're not like any regular real estate advisor where we show an investment opportunity, collect our fee, and walk away, right? We travel along with you in the journey. It's a full service company with full transparency. What that means is once you invest, all the asset related details, investment related details, like the lease deed, investment management agreement, escrow agreement, escrow flows, they all will be available to you, right, through our investment portal. And what we also bring to the table is an active property management, which means that once the investment is done, you just don't go home, come back to only collect the rental. We're right there in the market with our feet on the ground. If there is any active discussion to be done to keep the tenant engaged, we address that. Any other issues, rent collection, distribution, everything is managed. Now, the most important part is helping on the liquidity side. Now, all of us know real estate is very illiquid. Now, that has advantages also. What that means is when stock markets, which are liquids, crash, debt mutual funds, because of credit down ratings, they crash. Real estate, because it is illiquid, tends to be a much more stable asset, right? But the disadvantage is when you want to encash it, it becomes very difficult. Now, what we want to achieve and what possibly the platform will help you achieve is a better liquidity event. What that means is you don't have to wait for the asset to sell and therefore realize the money. We will have a window where on a quarterly basis, if someone wants to exit their units, we will possibly find some other investor to buy your units, which means that you can, with some fair degree of certainty, encash and make your investment more liquid. And by virtue of having a smaller ticket size, now suppose you invest a property for 50 crores, the liquidity even for a 50 crore investment is much more tighter, right? We have shrunk the investment to a smaller unit so that it also makes easy for us to find any other investor. So you can easily find someone for a 25 lakh, 50 lakh, a crore. So that also helps you make your investment a little more liquid than what real estate is. We've spoken about the team. I'll not spend more time on this. A little bit on this slide. In our promise to give you a vibrant board, a board that keeps the investor interest in mind. Kalpesh Maru, who's a partner with Deloitte, he is our mentor. He's a leading tax expert, has worked on taxation and deal structuring aspects for a lot of equity investments that happen in real estate, including the few REIT listings that have happened, the Blackstone acquisition. Blackstone bought a lot of real estate in Bangalore, Pan India. So all those investments are screened by Kalpesh and his team from a taxation and structuring point of view. Naveen, again, from real estate background, brings in a lot of rich experience on real estate and debt management side. He's now, he was earlier with Piramal. Now he's part of Uniturn Advisors. Yeah, I think we've mostly spoken about real estate and its advantage, so I would not spend much time on this. But just a little time on this slide. Most of us in our portfolio either have mutual funds, equity, or debt. Real estate, if any, is in the form of plots or a primary residence, or to some extent, the second flat or the third flat that we end up buying. Now, the disadvantage and advantage is here in front of you. So mostly the residential real estate, which forms part of the household portfolio, the rental yields are much lower. So commercial real estate has a definite advantage. The yields are at least 3-4 times. All of us know that. So I would, just pace up the discussion on this. The most important part between residential and commercial is the quality of the tenant, right? When you rent out an apartment or a flat or a house, your rent is dependent on, in a residential place, a family or a person, who will pay you rent. And it's a 9-month lease, 1-year lease. Versus a commercial property such as that we are looking at, you have a US quality tenant, a listed tenant. So the quality of tenant really becomes very superior. And the lock-in, that lease term, the tenor also becomes very superior. So versus, say, a 1-year lease on your residential flat versus a 9-year lease on your commercial property, right? So that not only on the return basis, but also on the quality of your rent that you will earn significantly improves when you invest your money in commercial real estate. Now, in terms of risks in real estate investments, I think most of us are aware of this. A leased property, the risk that you run is that of vacancy, because the property is completed, you have a title that you can vet. Property zoning is not a problem. You're not worried about encroachment of the property. The only risk that is left is a tenant paying you the rent, which is the risk that we have to understand and take a call on. As Amit said, it's not about avoiding the risk, it is about understanding the risk. Yeah, I think Rajesh has covered how real estate has always been with large family offices. So with fractional investment, yield asset, our aim is to bring real estate, commercial office rentals to everyone, people who can put in 25-30 lakhs. This is the fractional ownership model. I think we've spoken about it. So this is the goal and mission and the purpose of the Yield Asset team, to help investors own quality institutional real estate that helps you diversify with the help of pocket-friendly investments in real estate.
Rohit,
yeah.
Rohit, can you go back to the structure slide? I just want to highlight one or two things there on the
Sure.
Investment structure. Yeah. So, guys, one thing I want to highlight here is the role of the investment, the trustee and the escrow agent. Okay, and we have brought that into picture just to keep the absolute transparency and offhand approach from the investment amount that we get. So the every amount that we get is routed into escrow account, managed by escrow agent and the trustee based on the pre-written instructions, basically. So, we or anybody else can't touch the money until, it is returned back to you. And the trusteeship companies are all big trusteeship companies which manages accounts of Tatas and everybody. They're very well established companies, and the kind of the active compliance management and the distribution is managed by them, basically. And I'm highlighting this just to bring the factor of the transparency that we want to bring in while inviting investments from the retail investors.
Thanks, Rajesh. I think this is a very important part because investors need to be confident of the money and the way it is handled. Now, coming to the investment and the breakup of the investment. So this asset is listed at a purchase price of 50 crores, negotiated price of 50 crores. I would want to overemphasize that, which translates into a capital value of 14,500 plus the expenses, the standard regular expenses that are involved in any other acquisition of commercial real estate, which includes stamp duty, registration charges, property acquisition fee and reserves. So this is the fee for acquisition that Yield Asset would charge, so that we're absolutely transparent while we discuss this. And some reserves to manage any contingencies. So the landed purchase price for the SPV would be around 55 crores. This investment will be pooled from individual investors like all of you, including Rajesh is also participating. That will give you confidence. I would also participate in this investment. So just to give you that comfort that we are also participating in the investment. In terms of yield, I'll go to the next slide. Yes. So this is how the yield works on an investment of 25 lakhs, broken down into 25 lakhs, which is the minimum investment. Your monthly return would possibly be 17,300 per month, which is a translation of rent per month that the entire tenant, lease agreement, under the lease agreement. And the return increase is every year. The increase, if you see, is roughly 4.5%, 5%. That mirrors the 5% escalation in the rental. So on an average basis, your yield over the investment horizon would possibly be between 10.5 average yield. This is a calculation of IRR. The net IRR after all expenses, fee on exit would be around 12%, 11.9%, which gives you a 2x multiple over the holding of your investment. Right now, one thing which I wanted to, before I go there, This is the sensitivity on the IRR on how capital appreciation will affect your sale price. Capital appreciation is essentially the rate at which you are buying the property today and what will be the appreciated capital value when you exit. Right, so you're entering at 17,400 roughly, and depending on where the capital value is, this is a sensitivity of the IRR. I think we've captured the risk. Key investment terms: minimum investment is 25 lakhs, and you can scale it up in multiples of 5 lakhs. I think I've mostly covered everything on the investments. Rajesh, anything else to be covered, or we can open the forum for Q&A?
I think we can open it for Q&A. I think we can.
Rohit,
Again, yeah.
Rajesh, thank you so much for such a lovely presentation. And indeed, in my 18 years of real estate experience and predominantly in commercial, there was a time when these assets used to be so exciting, but out of reach for someone who wanted to invest a smaller amount. And I'm sure that, with yield assets and the fractional ownership coming into picture, there is a lot more scope that we have, as retail investors to invest. And trust me, if I would say that I don't understand anything about real estate, things like IRR and things like yield will just spin off and completely go out of my mind. But thank you so much for detailing it down further to tell all the investors what is the money they're going to make on a regular basis. So before we open up, I have a few set of questions that I would like to ask as just take it from the investor as well. Just give me a second. Oh, it's back to crypto. Sorry. All right. So do I get my returns every month?
Yes. Your return of cash flow is dependent on the rent being collected. The frequency of rent payment is every month. So the rental comes in the escrow account, which is under the control of the escrow agent, and he would operate under the instructions of this company, not at the instructions of yield asset. So under the instructions given to the trustee, he will be instructed to pay the rents every month when received. So it will be every month payout.
Fabulous. So basically you are saying that from the time I invest my 25 lakhs, from the first month itself, from the time the investment is raised and the asset is completely acquired, I can, as an investor, expect my rents to come to me every month, my returns to come to me every month.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Now, how does my return get treated and how does the taxation work? So if you can just throw a little bit of light on that.
Now, the taxation works at two levels, just to help everyone understand. One is at the level of the company in which all investors will be unit holders. When the tenant pays the rent, he would do a TDS, while we expect to get a income tax certificate for nil deduction. I'll cover that later. So the rent is paid net of TDS. At the level of the SPV, the income will be taxed. Now, the way we have structured this SPV by including CCDs is the rental that we pay you will be paid as interest. Now, at the hands of this company, income will be rental income. The SPV will have 30% tax deduction, and the interest, which is payout of rentals to all the individual investors, is also tax deductible. So we expect almost nil to very negligible interest taxation at the level of the company. Now, when the rental is distributed by way of interest to the hands of the investors, which is the interest income, it will be taxed to you as interest income. So depending on your tax slab, your constitution, whether you're an individual or a company or a partnership, and your tax slab, it will be taxed in your hands as interest income.
Great. Thank you so much. Next question is, if I have say another company, and if I want to invest through that company, is it possible?
I think it is possible. Rajesh?
Yes, it is possible.
Yes, it is possible.
Fabulous. Now, one question. On my 25 lakhs of investment, if I have to calculate the UDS, UDS is undivided share of the asset, just for everybody's understanding. How much will that be?
Yeah. So Amit, so UDS we don't calculate based on the individual investment amount. It will be based on the area that the SPV is purchasing, and that will be proportionate to the land and the total built-up area in the property. So we don't divide UDS as per the individual investors, basically, since the ownership of that particular floor space is within with the SPV. So the UDS will be registered in the name of the SPV, and that will be proportionate to the land versus the total development or the total leasable or the sellable area in the project. And in this case, that is about in the ratio of about 1:3.5. So you will get, say, almost like 1/3 of the UDS of 34,000 square feet.
Which basically means, if I understand it correctly, Rajesh, we're talking about 35%.
Yes.
Fabulous. It's actually a very good UDS compared to residential, I must say. Now, what if the tenant doesn't pay rent or defaults? Now, we do understand, and I think Rohit, you have also covered in your section where we spoke about tenancy risk, right? So there is an aspect of, what happens if the tenant defaults. There is, of course, the tenant is New Star. It's a multinational company. It's got a good financial backing. But as an investor, I'm sure that a lot of people will have this question. How do we address it?
Yeah, so I'll take this, Rajesh. So every investment comes with a risk, and depending on the type of investment, equity, debt, FD, mutual fund, everything comes with a risk. In fact, the FD that you keep in the bank also comes with a risk. We have seen that in case of a couple of banks going belling up, right? So therefore, your investment in this leased property also comes with a risk, and the residual risk, or the only risk that I'm worried personally, is the tenant vacating. Now, if you see, we have chosen so this property, to step back, there are some 7 other tenants who've occupied, and we had cherry picked this tenant because his lease start or agreement signing is after March 2019, which is the COVID impacted, 20, which is the COVID impacted date. 5.5 year lock-in, 9-year tenor. Now, in an unlikely scenario of this tenant defaulting, we have deposit. He has paid a deposit of 10 months, roughly 4.5 crores. And if the tenant has to vacate, and if he vacates, I think outside of the lock-in, because the risk is therefore only after the lock-in if the tenant vacates, because we are covered during the lock-in period, right? We are very confident of filling up the space by any other new tenant for 3 reasons: location of the property, quality of the property, and the current rent of the property. So for instance, if some of you are in Bangalore, and you want to do the site visit, I think the team will be very happy to take you, pool everyone and do a site visit. There are only hardly few assets that are prime assets on that stretch. Kalyani Magnum, for instance, is one such asset. They have recently leased in COVID times a property at 100 rupees rent plus, right? So if the tenant doesn't pay the rent, we have deposit. If he vacates, I'm very confident of finding another tenant because we covered anyways during the lock-in period. Rajesh, you want to add anything?
No. So, as Rohit has explained earlier, these lease agreement or the lease deeds are very well structured, negotiated documents. These are not documents which we generally sign for our residential tenants. And over and above that, we have 12 months deposit, to take care of any in between fluctuations, that anybody may have. So we feel, though, you can't say, there's no risk, But in this case, the vacancy risk or the tenant not paying risk are mitigated to the lowest level, I would say.
Fabulous. Rajesh, I just wanted to add to what you just said. And in my 18 years of commercial leasing experience and having dealt with almost about 50, 60 odd corporates, I think I have in my career just come across one such tenant who has broken the lock-in, and that was predominantly because of the GFC, the global financial crisis, and the company was into mortgage lending. So that's the only one example that I can give of, but you are absolutely right. And, thank you so much for covering that element of deposit, which is a huge chunk of money that is being held under the SPV, which is a corpus fund, which is always there to take care of all the contingencies. So we go to the next one. I think, Rohit, you have touched upon this question. What am I?
Yeah.
Now, as a independent investor, see this, I think most of the people who are there on today's session are first timers. For them, it's something which is very important, saying if I want to exit this thing tomorrow, what's my process? What are my options? So if that can be explained.
I think if you're looking to exit tomorrow, you should not invest in real estate. That's my advice to everyone here. You should keep some horizon, because for your money can earn you return only when you keep some horizon. So please don't invest your emergency funds and liquid amounts. Now the amount that you've identified and allocated for investment, you have to leave it for a few years for it to work. That is true for any investment that you make. So that's one advice. Now, in terms of exit options, there are two exit scenarios. One is at the level of the property. If we get a good opportunity to exit the property, so sell the property, if we get a good price, the asset is sold and the money is which comes in the SPV is distributed. Now, to individual investors, we will have a quarterly window where some portion of the units can be traded. So we'll help them identify another investors through our platform. So our platform, Yield Asset platform, and the investment dashboard will help you buy and sell in the secondary markets also. For instance, this your friend wants to buy it from you. So we can help you sell your units to him and onboard him, or someone who inquires with us on a platform. If he's interested, you can exit by selling your units to him.
Perfect. So, which also means that, if they want to just find out an investor directly also, that's possible. They can reach out to, agencies like Elegance Enterprises or anybody else out there who can help them sell it.
Yes.
So, you've answered this question already. So will Yield Asset help in exit? I think this is already taken care of. We already have a lot of questions from the attendees. So I'm just going to quickly take to what I have and then open it for the audience question. Now, who takes decisions for the SPV?
Rajesh, you want to go for this?
Yeah. So we will be signing an agreement with the SPV in regard to the day-to-day operations, of the company. But any major decisions will be taken by the shareholders or the unit holders of the SPV. We will go by the decision which, say we will fix it 70 or 75% of the investors agreeing to a particular decision. So that will be abiding by the asset manager or the property managers. And that's how the operations of the company will be done. There will be some fixed set of rules, and according to those rules, the escrow account mechanism for the distribution of the rents will be run. There will be a trusteeship agreement with the trusteeship companies, under which the trusteeship company will run the other operations of the company in terms of account, compliance, etc. So all will be done in a very, very transparent manner. But for all major decisions, the shareholders of the companies will be kind of consulted and taken a vote for.
Great. So, Rajesh, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just park my questions because we have a lot from the attendees. So I'm just going to open the questions that have come from the attendees so that, we are able to answer that. So I think there are quite a lot of questions. So let me
I think there are many questions on the interest on deposit. So I am reading that. So I'll just answer that. So because the security deposit, we will keep it in a fixed deposit or on a very liquid government backed bonds or funds that can be withdrawn any point of time, can brought back to into the SPV account, and if need be kind of distributed. We will not return that amount right now to the investors because we need it for a time when, say, in case after the lock-in, if tenant decide to vacate, then the SPV would need to return that security deposit to the tenant. So that is one amount which is not touched, which is only capped, deposited in a income generating kind of instrument, and whatever income is generated out of that deposit will be distributed along with the rentals to the investors.
Just to clarify, the deposit remains into the SPV. It doesn't come to yield asset account. So it completely remains into the investment SPV, governed by the constitution of the investment SPV, and only utilized for the purposes of the investment SPV.
Great. So there's one question by Mr. Alok. Do you take any power of attorney from investors?
No.
Great. So you have your answer there. There is a question from Alok again. What about the interest on the deposit? I think you have answered that question. Just move forward. Now, I think there is another question on deposit again. Now, one question from Mansa, which says, will the investor get paid in the event there is a vacancy?
Riaz, you want to take that?
I guess Rohit had already covered this part. In case of any vacancy, I'm sure we are loaded with enough amount of deposit already. We have about 12 months of deposit, and we ourselves are equipped enough to do a hand-holding or a transition in case there will be a vacancy which will arise. Having said that, we do a 360-degree vetting of the tenant itself before onboarding a property, and we believe at least till the lock-in period, this scenario shouldn't arise, and your investments till the lock-in are completely safe. Even afterwards, we will have enough time to do a transition for you to get the market rentals.
Yeah, and just to add what Riaz has said, given any scenario when the rental is not coming, so there is no distribution which is done to the investors. Okay, just to touch upon on the vacancy again. So as I earlier explained, these lease agreements and the lease deeds are very well drafted, well negotiated documents, and there is a notice period of about 3 to 6 months in all these leases. So a tenant cannot say I'm vacating tomorrow. Thank you, Tata, bye bye. Give me my deposit back. So that scenario doesn't happen in these kind of tenancy. So we will have a sufficient time to find another tenant during that notice period, lease it out, so that that scenario of not getting the rental into the SPV account doesn't arise. But yes, to answer the question directly, in case there is no rental which has been generated on the particular asset, then there is no distribution of any income to the investors also.
Sorry, Rajesh. I think I lost power, so I just probably kind of vanished for a few minutes there. Extreme apologies, everyone.
No I think we have answered the question. This is a risk which the investors have to take. Having said that, we have taken all steps to ensure that such a risk may not arise, or we will be there to handhold the transition in case of such, because there will be enough time. And such a situation is rare. It is not that it is impossible, but it is very rare.
Got it. Now, I think there's a question which says, is the fractional ownership of freehold property ownership irrespective of the tenancy? Can I continue to own the property fractionally?
Yes, that would be the case. The ownership is always with the investors through the SPV. And that doesn't change until we exit from the investment or or we sell the company or we sell the asset. So that is irrespective of whether there is a tenant or tenant is not there. That's why we call it is a real investment. You know, this is your investment is backed by a real asset, which is a commercial office space asset located in a building.
And that's why it is also slightly different from a REIT, where your unit gives you ownership in a lot of pool of assets, right? So there you cannot really identify your unit represents which asset. But in this case, in fractional ownership, 100 investors own 34,000 square feet of space. So your unit represents an interest in a specific asset with a specific profile and a specific quality.
Okay. So Dheeraj has asked a question. Can a virtual tour be organized, and is it possible to share the draft of the LLP?
Yes, both are possible. For the virtual tour we are working on, we will share that with the investors. And on the LLP document or the SPV document, we'll be sharing all those all those documents before anybody makes any investment.
Okay, there's one more question which says, can two individuals invest together?
No, so either they have to form a LLP or a company together, and then that LLP or a partnership form. So they meet, if they're joining together, they need to make a entity which can be a partnership firm or a LLP or a company, and that company that becomes the investors and the shareholders in the asset owning SP.
Okay.
Otherwise, otherwise for us they will be individual investors basically, but it doesn't make any difference. It remains the same, because their interest,
Okay.
their protection, everything is equal for all the investors.
Okay. So 1 second. Okay, so there's one question which says, how much skin in the game is yield asset maintaining?
Okay, so we don't invest to keep the transparency level high. We don't invest from the yield asset per se. Yield asset as a company, we don't invest. But this particular asset, we are, absolutely comfortable with. So like Rohit said, I, as an individual, like as a normal investors, like everybody else, would be part of the SPV, would be investing in that asset. Same is true with the other people of yield asset.
Okay. Now, one question by Mr. Praveen: what's the rent we receive when we invest 25 lakhs, and is there an appreciation on the investment when we exit? I think Rohit, you've already answered that, so if you can just throw some more light on it.
Rohit, you can share that screen again on the yield probably.
Yeah, the rentals are about 17,000 pre-tax, and this is the first year, goes up till 24,000 at the end of the tenure. So these are phenomenal returns, averaging at 10.5% per annum, 10.6% gross.
So, okay, so I'll just wait for.
Yeah, this.
I think, Mr. Praveen had asked this question. So, Mr. Praveen, your answer is right on the screen. This is what you make on an investment of 25 lakhs on a month-on-month basis. And apart from this, correct me if I'm wrong, Riaz, there is a appreciation on the capital at the time of exit as well.
Absolutely. There is a capital appreciation.
Got it. Great. Thank you so much. So Mansa has asked this question: does this investment have any end date?
We look for certain amount of holding period, Amit. Say we for this particular property we have a horizon of holding horizon of 5 to 8 years. Depending upon the market scenario, depending upon what happens after the locking period, we will take a call. but we would expect the prospective investors to take a horizon of at least to stay invested at least 3 to 5 years in this property to see better, very good returns.
Got it. So there is a quite a few questions on the pricing of the asset. So there's a question by Mr. Suhag Komrala, which says the pricing of the asset, which is 16,000 rupees a square feet, is it a fair price? How does one judge a fair price for such properties? And I think, there is another question I'm just going to add to it, where someone has gone and compared another building on Banagatta Road, and it said the price is between 8 to 12,000 square feet. So how do we justify this particular price?
No, so I probably wouldn't agree. Even for residential properties in that area, Amit, and I think your team would agree with me, or anything, if you look at Mahindra wind chimes, is about 9,000 rupees a square feet. Shobha Mojaria is more than 12,000 rupees a square feet. So if you compare this pricing, even with the residential, it is justified. We have to take a couple of things into the account. One is the rental that we are getting. So commercial real estate, when we buy based on the cap rate scenarios. Uh, then this is not a bare shell property that we are buying. We are buying the property with warm shell specifications. The warm shell cost itself is about 700, 800 to 1,000 rupees in these kind of assets. Then we are buying 45 car parks. Uh, then the entire fit outs is also included in the purchase cost.
And Rajesh, just to add,
The property itself would justify the prices in this property.
correct.
And I mean, the price is actually 14,500 odd. It is all inclusive if you take a residential asset parlance, excluding registration. So if you say price per se, you'll have to take it 14,500 odd, inclusive of everything, plus registration, when you take it in the residential parlance.
Right. And this is just for all the listeners and all the attendees. See, price comparable on assets really differ. I think somebody asked a question with regard to the grading of building, and is there a standard parameter on grading of building? So I'm sorry, Rajesh, I'm just going to take about a minute here and just to tell all the listeners. There is something called as NBC, which basically means National Building Code. And there is also something called as standard specifications, which most of the top multinational corporate look for when they look for a commercial asset. These are everything to do with the quality of construction. We are talking about column grids. We are talking about floor to ceiling heights. We are talking about floor loading. We are talking about the kind of glass that goes on the facade. We're talking about screeding, AHUs. There is a time another thing that goes into grading an asset. So just for everybody's understanding and knowledge, profile of the developer, quality of the asset, the kind of finishes that has been used, efficiency of the building, all of them go into the grading. There is a grade C, there is a grade B, there is a grade A, and there's a grade A plus. So everything, there's an absolute science that goes when they talk about grading of a building. Sorry, Rajesh, I had to take that question because that was pretty much there, and had a little bit of experience, and I thought might as well just throw it out. Can somebody take a loan to make this investment?
No, not at this stage. Basically, they can take loan by not securitizing their interest into this SPV or this property. We have been working with various banks to do that, but we are not able to crack that part so far. But once this product itself get established in the market, get that trust level, on the performance side, probably in coming years that product will pitch in. But that product of leveraging the investment, taking loan is not available at the stage that we are talking.
Okay, so we still have a lot of questions. I'm just going to pick up last 5 because it's going to be an endless, and Everyone, I think Dheeraj just asked me a question. Can Hindu undivided family invest? Rajesh, quickly, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Rohit has answered a yes. Yes, HUF can invest. So I'm just going to take about a few more questions. I'm going to leave a number and details for everybody to contact us, because I'm sure that there are a lot of doubts and questions that you will have where we can take this as a one-on-one session. Please, for everybody's consumption, this is the first private preview of this asset that Yield Asset has done. And Yield Asset, the entire team was kind enough to give this opportunity to Elegance to be a part of the first private preview. And I would also like to thank our few partners, especially Amit Shah from Belgaum, who has helped us, gather a lot of investors from there who are a part of this particular webinar as well. I will take a few more questions. Then I'm going to throw open a few numbers for everybody to get in touch with. And understand one thing. We always say, caveat emptor. Please be aware of what you're buying. So please ask all your questions, be absolutely sure that this is the right investment for you, and then take it. So just going to ask a few more questions now. One question, the team, people are asking, what is your capability as Yield Assets on the earlier projects, as well as individually when it comes to development?
We are not a very old company, Amit, and this product itself is a new product. So we have done one asset in Mumbai. In fact, we did two, but we sold it to an HNI because we got a better price than what we were selling to the retail investors. And we were in a hurry to close that. The other investment, we did it in Bombay. This is our first one in Bangalore, which is very, very good. So Yield Asset as a team has a good amount of experience. So I think you have touched upon briefly about the track record or the experience that I and the other team member has. I have been a banker myself. I've worked with ICICI Bank, Standard Chartered Bank at senior positions. I have worked in Bombay, then I worked in Bangalore. Then I was heading Colliers International as their national director for investments and lands. Then I was heading a private equity fund. Then I was CEO of uh, one of the largest commercial developer in Bangalore, which is Bagmane Developers. I'm sure you would be aware of Bagmane. In fact, they are in terms of ownership, they are the largest commercial properties owners after DLF in India right now, having developed about 20 million square feet of very, very marquee office space. Then, I have been part of a development company. We have been developing residential projects, and also would be that company is developing a commercial project in association with Hines, which is a US-based multinational company, a developer. Same is true with Riaz, having experience in terms of real estate lending, fintech development. Then Rohit, again a banker and a consulting, and this is all around real estate. The funding is also done to the real estate, the consulting also done to the real estate. Then we have a team of advisors, basically, like Kalpish is there, Naveen is there, and they are, both, I say, put together in terms of transactions which were done in Bangalore in last, 8 to 10 years. Probably the largest transaction, Kalpish was involved more than about, 50-60% of them. And in terms of the funding, Naveen would have been involved in many of the last transactions again. Then we are working with very, other advisors in terms of legal and technical. We are working with people like JSA on the legal, to take care of the legal aspect. acquisitions, LLP structure or the company structure, etc. Then we work with the IPCs like JLL, Colliers, Cushman in terms of technical, to check the technical aspects and the valuations of the property. So we have a ecosystem which is very well equipped to handle this kind of asset, to handle this kind of investments at the time of acquisition, and while we are maintaining the asset or we are maintaining the investment for the investors.
Amit, I just wanted to come in here, and it is very important to know for this asset. It is a part of a larger development, right? So we're not buying an independent Chotu standalone asset, right? So you have Hyatt, you have a large retail, and you still have a million, roughly almost 1 million square feet, 9.5 lakh square feet to be leased. And the developer is not a new developer, they've been here for 20, 30 years. So they will also ensure that the asset is filled, completed, the entire IT park is vibrant. So everything has to be taken care when you make that decision.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rohit. Thanks, Rajesh, for answering that question.
Amit, I would request you to take a few important questions which may be pertinent. One is on the
Please
rent.
be my guest, Rohit. I think you guys have been noticing the questions also. You want to pick something which is important, please go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a question on fit out rent and the Warmshins rent and the cap rate that one would appropriate to fit outs. And I thought it is important to address this so that we answer the questions that should be answered the most as a promise for transparency. So the question is very pertinent, right? And when we've derived at the valuation and negotiated, and the team has done this working multiple times before settling up and price for the asset. So we have not valued the fit outs on a cap rate. That is, the first answer. Because fit outs cannot be valued at a cap rate because they have a certain life that they depreciate out at, right? So we have assumed a life of 8-9 years. But if you see the quality of these assets, and if I can put the pictures out, these are all quality fit outs. You see the table chairs. These are motorable chairs that tables can come up. You can push them down. Brand is Featherlight. And all of the marquee, great fit outs in terms of lights, HVACs, other aspects. So in terms of numbers, yes, when you exit, you will not get a cap rate on the fit out, but you have factored that in the return working. Happy to share that working with everyone because this time is limited. I just wanted to touch upon this aspect. Happy to share the workings with everyone who wants to know more about it.
Great. One question, I think, I'm not sure you want to attend this question, this basic. Okay, somebody asked saying you can visit the property. Yes, you can visit the property. Please get in touch with us and we will organize that visit for you. So what would be the approximate appreciation after 5 years of investment? So if let's say everything goes as planned, right? We are looking at what the value. So of course, the rentals has been taken away. They're taking away their monthly rentals and monthly income that's coming. When they sell that 25 lakhs worth of asset, what will that 25 lakhs be at, say, 5 years from now?
Rajesh, you want to take it?
So Rohit, if you can again display that sheet.
Yeah.
So how we have done the working? We have done the working for the 8 years, exit at the time of 8 years. 5 years, after 5 years, what will be the NPV of the fit outs that we get? We have to do it, but on an average, you will get about 12% IRR. Amit.
Okay, so how much that transpire into a 25 lakh?
2 times. So on a investment horizon, if you see, it was a 2x, right? That's what it means. I will break this number down into important things, right? So your minimum growth is the growth of your rental, which is definitely growing by 5%, right? At the time of exit, your market, and Bangalore has seen rentals double in 5 years, 6 years. It is the largest market for IT occupiers, by far the largest and the strongest in Asia. And these numbers are there, it can be shared. The strongest IT market in Asia, Bangalore specifically. So we expect the rentals to surpass the current contracted rentals. So depending on where the rentals are, then when you exit in 5 to 8 years, you'll possibly can make much more. We don't know what that will be, but inflation adjusted, you will definitely make 12% IRR.
So just
Fabulous.
to highlight,
So,
just to highlight one factor, Amit, in this particular transaction, and that's why we chose it. If you look at the starting rent for warm shell is only 68 rupees, wherein in the same properties, the warm shell rent are going at the rate of about 80-85 rupees right now. Okay. So when we plot the exit scenario, okay, which we are trying to do it after 8 years here because the lease is signed for, another 8 years lease is there. And if you mark the renter to the market rent at that point of time, the warm shell rent, and you don't consider anything for the fit outs, your IRR will be much higher than what we are showing right now.
okay. So there are two questions from Azam. So I want to ask both the questions one after the other. Now, one question is, what if we are not able to close the funding in time? Number one. Second is, who are you purchasing the property from?
So we are purchasing the property directly from the builder, and he is the owner of this particular space that we are buying. I don't think so that scenario will come that this doesn't get fully funded, but whatever worst case scenario, how the process works, Amit, we will be only taking, when we start taking investment, we'll be only taking 5% of the committed amount. So if somebody is saying I will invest 25 lakhs, so we'll only take 5% of 25 lakh, say 1.25 lakhs. That is also into escrow account. In a scenario where the entire transaction or the funding is not closed, so within, at most of a 60 days timeline, say if somebody is investing today, from today to 60 days, somebody is investing after 30 days, 30 days to another 30 days, that amount will be returned back to the respective bank accounts from where the investment is.
I also feel it's going to be very unlikely, Rajesh, that we won't be able to close, because this is our first webinar, and I'm already getting messages on the interest level. So, but yes, thank you so much for addressing the worst case scenario. I think there are too many questions still to answer, and we will definitely go for a one-on-one session and answer all the questions on a one-on-one basis, as it's difficult to capture all the questions at this point of time. So, couple of final thing, we always keep asking this question, that is this investment for you, right? So we had the entire yield assets team presenting the product, presenting themselves, talking about numbers, talking about the risk factors, but is this for you? So a simple question, what is the advantages? It's a grade A property. Rentals are assured till March 2026. Accessibility to metro makes it a prime asset for a long term, because metro in Bangalore is going to play a very, very important part of commuting, if not now, in the next 5 years from now. It's limited stock in that micro market. I think Rajesh has constantly emphasized the fact that this is not outer ring road. This is not 20 million square feet thrown across everywhere. This is Banagatta Road, which does not have too many large assets available. So you are one king in a large market with no competition. That's why it's a great asset. We've spoken about the average return of 9.9%. Risk factors, vacancy. Yes, we touched upon the vacancy and the market factors, whatever goes wrong in the market. So I have something called as an investor meter. And we rate this asset on 3 parameters: return on investment, risk, and capital appreciation. We say return on investment moderate to high. It's a very, very good asset with a good return on investment. Risk is low because apart from the tenancy risk, there is no major risk as you already have a tied up agreement. And capital appreciation is also moderate to high because by the time you look to sell the asset, you are looking at already a high rental, wherein the yield rates will definitely match up to a good value for returns. Now, a big question: which one to choose? Where to invest your money? We always say diversify. Diversify your investment: high risk, medium risk, low risk, and cash in hand. So every money that you have, when you diversify, you are making the best investment choice for yourself. Now, with our last slide, we have of course spoken about this being a low investment category. So you judge for yourself that if this is the right investment for you. Finally, the numbers. I'm sure you will have more questions, and we are more and more happy to answer all the questions that you have. This is the new innovation in the market. This is what is going to change the market. And trust me, in the next 2 years from now, we will have this as one of the major investments avenues available. But the question is, will you still be able to get this kind of yields at the time when the market matures? It's the right time right now because this is a new concept. When it becomes old, it will become a run of a mill. So give it a thought, spend some time, call us, ask us all questions that you want to ask, and we are more than happy to help you answer it. And then your question itself will get answered, that is this a right investment for you? With this few words, I would like to end the session today. I would, really like to thank the entire Yield Asset team. Rajesh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Riaz. Thank you so much, Rohit, for spending your time and being patient enough to answer all the questions. And we will definitely be taking offline, from all the investors and interested participants. We will do a call, follow-up call, and we will make sure all your questions are answered. Continue staying at home, continue staying safe, and we look forward to hear from you absolutely soon. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Amit.
Thanks, Amit.
Nice moderated session. I hope it is useful for everybody who attended it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajesh. And the numbers are here. I'm just going to keep the slide open for another 1 minute. You can note down the numbers and give us a call. All right. Look forward to see you all, and look forward to hear from you soon. Have a good evening and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Amit. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.